Alzheimer's by Justin Miares. What is Alzheimer's disease? Alzheimer's is a chronic neurodegenerative disease that gradually takes over the brain. This disease eats away at the cerebral cortex and is caused by a series of abnormal cellular activities. Symptoms. Alzheimer's patients exhibit the following: memory loss/changes in memory, forgetting words or substituting inappropriate words, problems speaking, reading, writing, and understanding, disorientation to time and place, poor judgment, problems with abstract thinking, misplacing things in inappropriate places, drastic changes in personality, and difficult performing familiar tasks/routine chores. Causes. For Alzheimer's disease, 3 causes of neurodegeneration have been discovered: the buildup of amyloid plaques in the extracellular fluid, the creation of neurofibrillary tangles within neurons, and the depletion of cholesterol in the brain. Amyloid plaques are generated from the abnormal cleavage of amyloid precursor proteins, or APPs, by enzymes at the cell membrane level. When APPs are cleaved, both beta secretase and gamma secretase beta amyloid peptides are produced. These peptides aggregate and form amyloid plaques that surround synapses and dendrites and destroy neuronal connections in the brain, eventually slowly killing the cerebral cortex. Neurofibrillary tangles are also a result of protein abnormalities. Tau proteins hold microtubules together, which are essential for transporting materials and organelles from the cell body to the tip of the axon in neurons. When these Tau proteins disaggregate into filaments that form tangles, they can no longer hold microtubules together. As a result, neurons with generating neurofibrillary tangles do not transport materials successfully and slowly degenerate. The genes responsible for these abnormal cell activities are shown in this picture. The APP gene in chromosome 21 transcripts amyloid precursor proteins, whose cleavage is regulated by PSEN1 and PSEN2 proteins, found on chromosomes 1 and 14. Abnormal cleavage of APPs form beta amyloid peptides, whose buildups are regulated by apolipoproteins synthesized by the ApoE gene, found on chromosome 19. Apolipoproteins also transport cholesterol into neurons via LRP1 receptors, found on chromosome 12. When LRP1 genes fail to produce enough or any LRP1 receptors, cholesterol metabolism is compromised and contributing to synaptic dysfunction and neurodegeneration. Mutations to these genes can either result in their overproduction or underproduction. Inheritance. The early onset form of Alzheimer's disease is inherited in an autosomal dominant pattern, which means one copy of the altered gene in each cell is sufficient to cause the disorder. The inheritance pattern of late onset Alzheimer's disease is uncertain. Epidemiology. More than 25 million people in the world today are affected by dementia, most suffering from Alzheimer's disease. Even though it would appear that minorities such as Hispanics and African Americans are more affected by Alzheimer's than whites, the incidence of Alzheimer's disease is far more concerned with age than anything else. The prevalence of the disease doubles every 5 years after the age of 65. Every 1 of 10 people over 65 and every 1 of 3 people over 85 are affected by some form of dementia. Diagnosis. Alzheimer's disease is diagnosed through a series of mental status tests, physical and neurological exams, and blood tests. A thorough medical history and brain imaging are also sought after to validate a diagnosis. Prognosis. People with this disease do not get better. Slowly, Alzheimer's patients fade away as they lose their memory, personality, identity, and sanity. Patients usually last 8 to 10 years before death. Treatment. There is no cure for Alzheimer's disease, but there are several things that can help care for patients with Alzheimer's disease. Medications, sensory therapy, and alternative medicine can help with the symptoms. Many clinical trials are in the process of developing new treatments and possible cures for Alzheimer's disease, including several concerning gene therapy. Hopefully one day we can cure our species of this horrifying disease.